like you get out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer?
I mean, what he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him.
I haven't seen Gervonta Davis in another sexual assault allegation, lawsuits incoming, potentially criminal charges levied. We don't know yet, but we know that fight is up in the air, and I think that fight's not going to happen, and they're going to either have to move the fight back or they're going to have to look to a replacement or both. I don't know.
This fight is still technically scheduled for November 14th to air on Netflix, but it's basically hanging on by a thread. But the team, Jake Paul's team, have reportedly gone and contacted all the fighters, and the names that they're looking at contacting to fight as a late replacement.
After Gervonta Davis's fight was called off due to Tank's continued legal issues, Floyd Mayweather has once again rocked the boxing world by criticizing Jake Paul. Mayweather has stated that he is prepared to take on Jake, and that this time it will be a real fight rather than a show. Additionally, he made it clear that he would not advance and wait, indicating that the match will take place in accordance with actual professional regulations. Fans are excited to see if Floyd is genuinely getting ready for a real comeback to the ring, and the unexpected call-out has created a lot of talk.
At the time, people badly wanted you and Jake Paul to fight. Is he someone you're interested in or no?
Well, you know, if you go back, you got to do your homework, look on the internet. I think he was doing a sit down on a podcast one time, and he talked about it. He said, I don't want to do an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather. He said, I'm only doing real fights. And of course, I can't get up high in weight, but I'll fight him in a real fight at the weight that I'm at. But Jake Paul, I mean, as of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a real fighter, it's going to be bad.
Have you been impressed?
But one thing I like about him, one thing I do like about him, he's selling it. He's selling it, and he's making good money. And
Davis's well-reported exhibition against Jake Paul has been cancelled due to the lawsuit and related investigation. In a statement, his promoter, Most Valuable Promotions, said they were looking into the situation and decided not to go ahead with the event.
He was supposed to be boxing Gervonta Tank Davis, a man that weighs 133 pounds or 135. Regardless, it's a man that is way smaller than Jake Paul. So that is just ridiculous, and I've given my thoughts on that before anyway. But now it turns out that Gervonta Davis has some allegations about domestic abuse. I don't know too much about the situation, but apparently Netflix have pulled the plug on that fight. It says, here's a tweet I'm reading from Mike Coppinger. As reported, Jake Paul's return could shift to December, with the November 14th Netflix exhibition in jeopardy due to the latest allegations against Gervonta Davis. Sources tell Ring magazine that December 12th and the 19th,
Courtney Roselle, Davis's ex-girlfriend, filed a civil action against him after an alleged incident that occurred on October 27th at a Miami nightclub where she works. In his complaint, Russell charges Davis with kidnapping, false imprisonment, battery, aggravated battery, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. According to the lawsuit, Davis assaulted and dragged her through the club's kitchen, parking garage, and stairway, among other places. In addition to the legal case, Miami Gardens law enforcement confirmed that an investigation is ongoing.
Boxing champion Gervonta Tank Davis faces new abuse claims from a woman who claims to be his ex-girlfriend. This is according to our media partner, the Baltimore Banner. Courtney Russell says she dated Davis for 5 months and recently filed a civil lawsuit accusing him of aggravated battery, false imprisonment, and other offenses. She claims Davis physically attacked her a number of times during their relationship. Russell claims the most recent incident was Monday at a Miami nightclub. Davis is scheduled to fight Jake Paul in Miami.
CHA Sonnen recently commented on the controversy surrounding the alleged cancellation of the fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul, saying that he personally contacted both parties to find out the truth. Sonnen claims that he attempted to call both Tank's and Jake's teams to find out if the reports were true, but neither side provided him with a clear response. He claimed that the growing suspicion that something significant was going on behind the scenes was only heightened by their silence. Sonnen hinted that there may be more going on than meets the eye when both fighters refused to deny a cancellation, suggesting that there may be deeper legal and promotional issues at play in addition to schedule issues.
Tank has one job to do. which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skills, of which I am an abundance of and of which you have none of. My life's commitment and dedication versus a second or third or fourth thought in the world of priority on your list. And I used to believe those things.
Floyd has called out Jake to take on Tank since his fight is now in danger. Regarding Jake Paul's boxing skills, Floyd Mayweather has been very direct. Although he finds Paul amusing and appreciates his accomplishment in the crossover arena, he refrains from referring to Paul as a real boxer. Mayweather believes Paul wouldn't pose a significant challenge to someone of his quality, as seen by his description of a possible battle with Paul as being too simple. Additionally, he has stated that although Paul has carved out a profitable niche for himself, competing against a top-tier fighter will reveal the disparity in his preparation, skill, and level of competition.
There are many people who believe you're the most talented fighter ever, period. So whatever you say to this question, I think is important. Are you impressed? Does he have boxing ability? Or is he just an entertainer who has a lot of fans and can promote a fight and has fought lesser opponents? Or is he actually talented?
As long as he continues to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's gonna continue to look good and shine. But once he fights a real fighter, a real fighter that can really fight, it's not gonna be that good.
Does he have the ability with what you've seen to continue to mold himself into somebody who can actually? He told me before his goal is to fight Canelo, so that's, you know, where his mindset's at.
Furthermore, many fans felt there were unanswered what ifs because of Mayweather's unwillingness to allow rematches. On the other hand, Jake has frequently overcome opponents who are either far smaller than him or far too old for him. Mayweather has acknowledged Jake Paul's entertainment value but cautioned against Paul's caliber of opponents. He cautioned that Paul might be exposed if he intervenes with a real boxer.
Second question is just with like Logan Paul and then Jake Paul now fighting Mike soon in the summer. What do you think defines a real boxer? Because I feel like people are still confused on if Jake Paul is a YouTuber boxer or a real boxer. How do you feel like you get out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer?
What he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool if he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him. I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him.
In the meantime, numerous fighters and commentators commend Floyd Mayweather for his mentality in addition to his quickness and defense. They contend that his unwavering confidence in his ability to defeat anyone was what truly made him powerful. Tony Jeff, for instance, has noted that Mayweather was able to control fights before they started because of his self-assurance and mental advantage.
Really confident, to really believe in themselves, but you need more than that mindset. You need to have the full package of everything that I'm talking about what Floyd has got.
Fighters should only want to get better. The more you win, the more you should work hard. If you think about losing, you're gonna lose. All I ever thought about was winning. So that's all I know.
Floyd would visualize his success before he even stepped into the ring. There was no alternative to him but winning. And this mindset isn't just for boxing, it's for all walks of life. And I've actually done a full video talking about how I used this mindset of visualization to win my Olympic medal. And it was an absolute game changer. Now, Floyd used to use this mindset to ease the pressure that he put himself under. And he made himself think like, I'm not under any pressure right now, where he was under immense pressure.
Pressure either makes you or break you. Well, you see one match, so it's obvious that I'm the type of athlete or I'm the type of entertainer that can deal with pressure. There's never no pressure.
Now, if you watch his fight in 2013 when he fought Canelo Alvarez, Canelo came in a young, strong, undefeated fighter. But by round 2, Floyd kind of had him figured out. He was reading Canelo's jab. He would slip outside and then come back with a clean counter punch, then move his feet and get out of the way. He basically had the full fight under control, and he was controlling the full rhythm of the fight. He was forcing Canelo to fight at his pace. And this is what he would do in all of his fights. He would get his opponent to do what he wanted them to do without their opponent even realizing it, which is what we call boxing IQ. Now, even though I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather personally, because of the time when I did meet him, what he said to me made me just feel like this guy is a piece of shit.
Analysts see Mayweather's reported pursuit of a bout with Mike Tyson as more than just a money grab. They think Floyd's action is motivated by a desire to demonstrate that, even after retiring, he continues to dominate the news. With everyone watching the Davis vs. Paul bout, Mayweather doesn't appear to want anyone, not even his protege, to surpass him. This, according to observers, is vintage Floyd, a man who feeds on fame, rivalry, and legacy. A bigger theme is hinted at by Floyd's supposed battle, as Gervonta and Jake prepare for their own extravaganza. Boxing icons' ongoing battle to remain relevant in a sporting environment that is changing quickly.
So many celebrities and so many people that are known, where you can get somebody and they can sell tickets to events. That's what kicked off the social media influence boxing that Jake Paul was birthed from. Now we're in a vacuum. And so there's going to be a lot of conversation about that and continuing to do that. In this particular video, though, I want to get into the mind of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and why Floyd Mayweather Jr. would do this. There is the money, but there's also the competitive nature of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and him not wanting to have other people think that they're a bigger star than he is. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has not been able to really launch his star outside of the sport of boxing, so he continues to do exhibitions. Now, what I think is that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is announced it at this point in time with Mike Tyson in order to take advantage of the publicity heading into the Gervonta Davis, Jake Paul fight, which is, I do believe, set for November. So now that they have all the publicity and all that stuff coming out from that, he's going to piggyback on it and then try to have it in the beginning of next year sometime, actually make it a bigger event than Gervonta versus Jake Paul. And it probably will be. And the reason that I say that is because of Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is bigger than Floyd. Let me say Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson's bigger than Floyd Mayweather. I still think Name is bigger than Floyd Mayweather, even though I know Floyd has made more money in the pay-per-views. And I think that had a lot to do with, again, social media area and otherwise. But the combination of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mike Tyson and the question about whether...
Numerous reports state that Jake Paul's promotional staff is aggressively contacting a number of well-known fighters as possible replacements for Davis, whose forthcoming fight has been seriously called into question owing to legal claims. Amid the controversy surrounding the initial fight with Gervonta Davis, there are increasing rumors that Jake Paul's organization has contacted none other than Terence Crawford as a possible substitute opponent. Although names have been mentioned in recent days, no official confirmation has been made. Crawford's exceptional standing in the sport is what sets this apart. The stakes and validity of any clash will be significantly increased by his participation. Nevertheless, the talks seem to be extremely early and hypothetical, and Crawford has not accepted anything in writing. In any case, supporters are curious as to whether Paul's club is abruptly shifting toward a more reputable and formidable opponent due to the talk alone.
Scheduled for November 14 to air on Netflix, but it's basically hanging on by a thread. But the team, Jake Paul's team, have reportedly gone and contacted other fighters. And the names that they're looking at contacting to fight as a late replacement: Ryan Garcia, Terence Crawford, Francis Ngannou, come on, we'll get into them, and Nate Diaz. So he's already fought Nate Diaz, but let's go through them one by one. Ryan Garcia, he's a similar size to Gervonta Davis. He's bigger though. Davis made him come down, didn't he? Then he beat him up. So that was Ryan Garcia. Quite a bad loss for Garcia, that was, because he looked for the fight, but Gervonta Davis beat Garcia. Garcia also isn't really big enough to be jumping in with Jake Paul, but that's a fight that potentially could happen. Garcia's a massive name. He's a big he's a social media star. He's a big public figure. Loads of followers on Instagram and social. His Instagram's over 1 million, I'm sure it is. He's just a big name, good-looking kid, great fighter, fast stands, and he's quite controversial as well. So that'd be a good fight, but the weight disparity, again, it's too big. So for me, when I say it'd be a good fight, it'd be interesting to see how Ryan Garcia would go in against Jake Paul. But to be honest, Jake Paul's far too big for him. Who else we got? Terence Crawford. I can't see Terence Crawford entertaining this, but then you never know, do you? If the old bunts make sense, then it makes people do strange things. And Terence Crawford's getting on now, what is he, 37, 38 years old, had that great win against Canelo. Would he jump in with Jake Paul for mega money? Probably. He'd paced him as well. I mean, Terence Crawford would be too much for Jake Paul, even though he's up at 168 in his last fight, super middleweight, my old weight division, so I don't think Jake Paul would fight him. Francis Ngannou, I mean, why even chuck Ngannou in the mix? Ngannou would just hammer him, he's too big. I mean, he talked about Anthony Joshua, that never happened, did it? It's a load of bollocks. He talked about fighting AJ, then announced he's fighting someone the size of one of AJ's legs in Gervonta Davis. So for me, that's nothing. The Nate Diaz fight, he's already fought him, it was a rubbish.
The fight between Jake and Tank was previously opposed by many critics. The planned bout between Jake Paul and Davis has drawn harsh criticism from another boxer, Carl Froch, who described it as basically a garbage match. Given Paul's lackluster boxing credentials and Davis's obvious superiority in ability and experience, Froch claims the fight has no real competitive significance. He insisted that the fight wouldn't stand up to the scrutiny of true boxing purists and described Paul as more of a spectacle boxer than a legitimate contender. For Froch, the question of whether the fight should even be regarded as a legitimate match between two top professionals is more important than the outcome.
Absolute clown world, really fitting for fake Paul, the clown, because it's a clown show. You're putting him in with somebody who's 100 pounds. I've mentioned the weight disparity before, getting on for 7 stone. It's a weight-governed sport, it should not be happening. He's too small, Gervonta Davis, against the big Jake Paul, who's in the gym a lot, training, apparently he's fit and strong and he has a go and he can fight a little bit, which I disagree with because I don't think he can. He might be able to fight a little bit, he certainly can't box. But these allegations against Gervonta Davis, they're very serious allegations. Anybody that's laying hands on women needs to be shut down straight away. They need to be, for me, they need to be locked up in the key for.
The contest, according to Amir Khan, was a terrible mismatch. Khan criticized the promoters for consenting to what he described as torture, emphasizing that it is unfair to Davis to go inside and harm someone. Given that Paul is said to weigh well over 200 pounds and Davis has never weighed more than 140 pounds, Khan described the coupling as risky and exploitative and questioned whether Davis merely wanted to make money and quit the sport.
Gets on my nerves a little bit. I think the way he looks himself, the way he acts, and I think he's just full of himself as well, and he thinks he can fight. And he's only been boxing for what, like a year. But he's been very lucky though. He has he's had some good wins against like MMA fighters. He's a little bit heavier than me, but I don't mind putting the pounds on just.
Given that Tank is still physically fit and prepared to participate despite his ongoing legal troubles, some critics are wondering why the fight had to be cancelled at all. They draw attention to the fact that a number of athletes had previously engaged in combat while under active prosecution, implying that the decision may have been made more for corporate optics and public perception than for the fighter's actual needs. Given the excitement and financial commitment surrounding the fight, many fans feel that the promoters ought to have allowed it to go forward as scheduled if Tank is still willing to fight. Others, however, refute that by pointing out how severe the accusations are. If the event had gone forward, everyone involved might have faced severe backlash.
So, did Gervonta Davis's cancellation of his fight with Jake Paul, was it the right decision from Jake Paul, his team, Netflix? Did they make the right move to cancel the Gervonta Davis fight? I want to know y'all thoughts in the comment section. We'll probably do a longer video on this later, but I want y'all to interact and let me know y'all thoughts. Now that we know the fight is canceled, they announced it late yesterday while we were in the middle of a live stream. What is your thoughts? Do you think the fight should have been canceled? Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel.
What are your thoughts on all of this? Should the promoters hold off till Tank resolves his legal concerns, or should Floyd Mayweather actually step up to fight Jake Paul right now? Leave a comment with your ideas.